Welcome to Esteems Tech. In this video, we will learn about lists. In lists, we will learn about indexing, negative indexing, and slicing. It is a basic data structure of Python. Come, let's learn together. So what are lists? A list is an ordered collection of objects. You can create a list by enclosing a comma-separated sequence of objects in square brackets. For example, you can see here list 1. This is the name of the list. It contains strings, integer values, float values, boolean values, and a list itself. So list can contain heterogeneous elements and it can also contain sublists. How we can check the type of the list? We can simply use the type function to check the type of the list like this. So what is indexing basically? Indexing in Python refers to accessing individual elements of a data structure. You can access elements using square brackets and providing the index of the element you want to retrieve. So basically the index is, it starts from 0. So I have shown you the list in slide number 1. So you can see there are various elements, heterogeneous elements are there in the list. So the first element is supposed to be at index 0, second element is at index 1, third element is at index 2, and so on. Right? So if I ask to print the element at an index 0 of list 1, it is going to give me the value esteems tech, which is the first value, which is index 0. Right? So you can see here in this list 1, if I ask to print the value of index 4, value at index 4, or you can say the element at index 4, that is a boolean value true, right? So negative indexing. Negative indices can be used to access elements from the end of the data structure, where -1 refers to the last element, -2 to the second to last, and so on. Right? So if I ask to print the value at last, if I ask to print the last value of the list 1, I will use -1. -1 within square brackets, and here this is the name of the list, and it is going to give me, it is printing last value, that is a sublist 44, 55, and 66. This sublist it will retrieve, it will print for me. And in this case, in this list, the same list, list 1, if I ask to print the value at -2 index, that is second to last value, that is true, the boolean value true in this case. I hope you got it. So slicing, it allows you to extract a portion of the data structure based on start and end indices. The slice is inclusive of the start index and exclusive of the end index. Alright, so in this case you can see here, this is the syntax. So this is the name of the list, list 1, and this contains start index, end index, and the step. So let me show you on Jupyter Notebook how it works with a simple example. I have list 2 that contains so this is a list. So slicing is, if I write the name of the list and start index 0, if I'm using colon and I'm not putting anything, I'm not putting here last index, although in this case last index is, I can refer to 10, right? So in this case everything is printed, but even if I don't write anything in place of end index, it is printing the whole list for me. So in this case I'm using here the end index. If I remove the starting index here, it knows that it will start from the beginning itself, right? If I write here 3, index value 3 means it has to start from third index. Third index value is 4 element, right? So this is the element at index 3 in this case. So in case if I write step 1, in case if I start from 0 itself and if I write here step 1, so see what will will it print? So it is printing the whole list. But in this case, if I write step 2, means it will skip the second element. It will skip every second element from the list. So in this case, every odd element is printed. So if I say here 3, so in this case, second and third elements are skipped. So in this case, first is printed, 2 elements are skipped, then fourth is printed. 5, 6 skip, 7 is printing. 8, 9 skip. If there was 10 element 10 next to it, that should be printed. So first element is printed, then leaving the 2 and this element will be printed. Right? I hope you got it. So this is the step in this case. So if I write, all right. So in this case, if I don't write step, you can simply write start index and end index. So if I'm writing start index 0 and if I'm writing end index 1, so in this case, only one element is printed. Element at index 1 is not printed. I mean here 2 is not printed because it is excluded. End index is excluded. Start index is included, is inclusive, we can say. End index is excluded. So in case you want to write first 2 elements, if you want to print first 2 elements, here you will have to write index 2 here. The first 2 elements will be printed, but not the third, because 3 is at index 2. I'm making it clear, very clear. So 3 element is at index 2, but we know slicing is exclusive at end index. So here we'll have to write one more value. We'll have to add +1 to the index of the value where that we want to print at the end. For example, if I'm writing 3, if I'm writing here 5, for example. So in this case, you can see only these elements will be printed. So we know we are starting from 0, right? So 0 index means 1. This is element 1. Index 1 means 2. Index 2 means element 3. Index 3 means element 4. So if I'm writing index 5, it doesn't mean 5 here, the element 5 here. Index 5 means 6 element here. So now I think you can relate with this example. So list 1 that contains the elements here. Let me show you. So these are the elements that list 1 contains. So if I am going to that particular slide of slicing, so you can see here 0 to 5 means element starting from 0, 0th index till 4th index will be included. 5 is not, index 5 element is not included. So here the step is 3. In this case, every 2 elements between first and fourth element will be excluded. So first element will be printed, fourth element will be printed, fifth and sixth will not be printed, seventh will be printed, seventh element, right? So that's why you got Esteem Stack and 5.6. You can do the same question on your side on your Jupyter notebook. And if I talk about more on slicing, these things I already told you that if I don't put the start index, if I only put the end index, it will start from the beginning itself. And if I don't put the end index, it will include everything starting from third index. Yeah. So these are some practice question. You can just check, pause the video, check this question and do it on your side. These are 4 questions on this slide and again 4 questions here. Practice a lot.
Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. We are so thankful that you are supporting us.